Sometimes I hear from people who say the world does not need more executives. The world does not need more leaders. It needs more doers. And I agree with that. The world does need doers. But I also believe that we need better leaders, better executives. And that's my mission. That's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Tom, and I'm the founder of the Executive Career Accelerator here at Vertical Motion, where we help mid-career professionals become executives. If that's interesting to you, you can book a call with me where we can talk one-to-one on how we can help you move into the executive ranks from where you are. Assuming you're somebody with maybe 10 years of career experience or more, and you've at least managed a few people in your career, then you may be a candidate for this program. Let's jump into today's topic, which is really about my mission and why I do this. Sometimes I get discouraged when I hear someone say, the world does not need more leaders. We have enough of those already. I firmly disagree with this. We have a lot of people who are in charge, but we have a lot of people who aren't leaders. Show me a leader in the American Congress right now. Back in the 1960s, US Congress had an 80% approval rating. And it was because the people who were in Congress went there because they wanted to have an impact on the government, on the country. Now we have Congress full of narcissistic, selfish people who are there for their own self-absorbed goals. And they're not really there for the American people. It's no surprise that Congress now has an approval rating of around 8%. Think about that. 9 out of 10 people hate Congress. It's because the people who got to Congress aren't leaders. They're manipulators. They use politics and they use deceit and they use all these manipulation tactics to get to where they want to be. And now that they're there, you can't get them out. And they stay forever. Literally, people are dying in Congress. It's ridiculous. And they're not there to help the American people. They're there to help themselves. That's not leadership. So when someone says the world does not need more leaders, I disagree vehemently. We need more leaders. We need better leaders. We need less manipulators. Earlier this year, I recovered from leukemia, and I went through a period of self-reflection where I decided, what do I really want to do with the rest of my life? Assuming that I have years left to live, what do I want to do with that time? But I went through an entire process. One of the things that I did was I did an exercise called Ikigai, which is basically a process of defining your life purpose and what it is that you stand for and what you want your life to mean. Now, the thing about life purpose is sometimes it can be shown to you by something, and other times you just have to pick one and make it your life purpose. The truth is that your life purpose is what you want it to be. It's what you want to spend and devote your time and energy to become an expert at a craft. One of the problems that we have is we don't know which one to pick. Sometimes the best answer is to pick anything and just go and do it until you hate it and then pick something else. I decided that I wanted to teach leadership. That is my Ikigai. That is the core essence of who I am. I want to be someone who teaches leadership. Why did I choose to teach leadership? Why is that important to me? Several times in my career, I have run into and been hurt by narcissistic manipulators who are in powers of position, people that were very close to me. My co-founder in one of my companies, a friend of mine who I helped get his job, who ultimately fired me from the company we worked together. These were people that I was very close to, and they deceived me and they discarded me as trash. And it put me in a state of like, I don't know if I can believe anyone anymore. So I became a very guarded person. And I hated that about myself because naturally I'm someone who wants to lean into people. I see the best in people, and sometimes that means I can't see the worst. I decided that what I want to do with my life is I want to amplify the people who deserve leadership roles, and I want to marginalize the people who don't. So I look for opportunities. When I see someone who's a manipulative narcissist in a position of power, I see an opportunity to get rid of that person and replace them with someone who deserves to be there. And the people who deserve these leadership roles, they're authentic people, they're empathetic people, and they're audacious. And that's the 3 traits that I look for when I consider if someone is a good leader or not. I look for authenticity, empathy, and audacity. And this came up in my process of going through what is my life purpose. My life purpose is to teach leadership. What does leadership mean to me? It means being someone who inspires others through being authentic, being empathetic, and being audacious. If you don't have those traits, if you can't empathize, if you care only about yourself, you're not a leader, you're a manipulator. And that's important to understand, that What we need in American society, in American business, is less manipulators and more leaders. And so my mission is to bring leaders forward in the world. For about 50 years now, American business has been off track. Milton Friedman said in the 1970s that the sole purpose of a business is to maximize shareholder value. And kind of on the surface, it kind of makes sense at first until you start digging into it. So here's the thing. Owners don't give a shit about what the organization does as long as it generates profit. If you are separated from the organization, if you're not an employee, if you're not a customer, if you're not a vendor, and you don't care what the output of the company is in terms of its detrimental damage to society or the planet, then all you care about is profit. And so what happens is you incentivize the very worst attributes of capitalism in these corporations by doing that. And so what we have is we have people who are rewarded for being selfish if their selfish interests align with those of the shareholders, who are also selfish. And this doesn't make sense. This is not what made the United States great. What we need is a new generation of leaders, people who show up to work thinking about not just maximizing shareholder value, but how to maximize the lives and livelihoods of the employees, how to maximize the value that we actually give to our customers, how we help our vendors be successful so we have a thriving ecosystem that helps supports our development, our products. You can care about other things besides profit and still be profitable. There's a concept called the B Corp, and the B Corp is basically a organization. It's like a C Corp. It's an official corporation that's recognized in the state of Delaware, and I think all 50 states also recognize B Corps. But B Corps, what they do is they codify in the articles of incorporation a mission greater than maximizing shareholder value. They have what's called the triple bottom line, where we take care of people, profits, and planet equally. Think about this. We care about our employees and our customers and our vendors and all of the other people who are involved in this organization equally to our profit. We also think about the planet, which can mean society or it can mean the physical planet itself in terms of carbon capture or other metrics, right? But we measure those things equally, a triple bottom line. All things being equal, people, profit, and planets. That is what American corporations should aspire to, is maximizing those three bottom lines, not just profit for the shareholder. Right now, there is too much greed in American society. There's too much greed in our government, and there's too much greed in our businesses, and there's just too much greed overall. Greed can be good to an extent, but just like everything, there's guardrails, and we've gone way off the guardrails when it comes to how are we building corporations. Look at what's happening to our employee bases. Every day you see a new article about an organization you thought was a great corporation laying off people through Zoom. Just this week, LinkedIn had a list of 600 names that got leaked on a server, shared, and it turns out those 600 people were laid off remotely. How awful is that? How far have we come from 60 years ago where my grandfather worked for Eastern Stainless Steel for 45 years because he had no interest in going to another organization. He started his job there and he ended his career there. 45 years at Eastern Stainless Steel. Now, can you imagine working somewhere for 45 years? Can you imagine working somewhere for 4 years? It's ridiculous. We don't care about our employees, and it's because the executives don't care about shit except maximizing shareholder value. And this is what's wrong with society. This is what needs to change, and this is my mission. My mission is to find authentic, empathetic, and audacious people who want to take up the flag of improving American business models and actually building corporations that change the metrics, that change what we measure. People, profit, planets, equally. All of those things are equally important in successful corporations. That's my mission. That's what I'm here to do. I find people that I think can be authentic, empathetic, and audacious leaders, and I help them grow into those roles. We have another problem here, which is where you have people who are insiders. Their parents were CEOs or their older siblings were executives, and they know this insider game. They know the tips and tricks of how to get executive roles. They know these nuanced things. Then we have all these outsiders who are great people who are perfectly qualified to be amazing leaders, but they're on the outside looking in. First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. I'm talking about Fight Club now. I have been an insider. I have been the CEO. I know what it takes to become an executive, and I want to teach the people who deserve executive roles all of the things that they need to know in order to move through the executive ranks as an insider. Half of my program are first-generation immigrants. Why do you think that is? It's because their parents don't know the nuance of American corporate society. So it makes sense that they have to learn that somewhere. Well, you don't learn that in an MBA. I've been through one, and they didn't teach me those things. You might learn some of this in some MBAs, but you're gonna spend 2 years and $200,000 learning that. And our bosses don't teach this either because they don't want the competition. They want you right where you are. You're a great manager, you're a great individual contributor, and they want you to stay there and do that job for them to look successful as an executive. They don't want you competing for their job. We're not in a world where we grow people together anymore. Everyone's a free agent now, including your boss. And she or he are just as nervous about you taking their job as you are about losing your job. It's ridiculous. We have no trust in American corporations anymore. So I want to teach people who are authentic, empathetic, and audacious how to lead, how to be executives, and how to take over these organizations and replace these selfish manipulators with people who have aspirations to build great things for society, for the world. That's my mission. That's why I do this. I built an organization called the Executive Career Accelerator. And what this is, it's a program that teaches people how to lead, how to become executives. I help someone who's 10, 15 years in their career or more, has some management experience, how to become an amazing executive and how to do it the right way. You don't play politics in my program. Politics are manipulation. We don't use manipulation. We use leadership. We use inspiration. And we use tools and techniques that some of the best leaders in the world use. When you think about a great leader in your mind, picture that person. What separates them from Congress? What separates them from a CEO who lays off half their company on Zoom and laughs about it? What's the difference between those two people? Both are in charge, but one person is someone you admire. And that's what I hope to build, people that I admire. I have 17 people in the program today, and I admire all of them. They're amazing, inspirational people who are growing leaps and bounds and are going to do amazing things for society. And I'm so proud to be working with them. If you're somebody who's thinking about how do you move forward in your career without playing politics, you're tired of being on the outside looking in, you're tired of where is this glass ceiling that I keep hitting? If you don't know the game, I'll teach it to you. I'll help you get there. I'll teach you how to play it the right way so that you show up as an authentic, empathetic, and audacious leader that people look up to and are excited to work for. This obviously means a lot to me. I've decided to dedicate my life to this. I've left my career behind to focus on this. This is something that I'm going to spend the rest of my life working on. So if you're as passionate about becoming an executive as I am about teaching you, let's book a call and have a conversation about it. Otherwise, you can continue to watch this content here on YouTube. You can DM me directly on Instagram at Tom Cox VM. We can have conversation there as well. I don't know if this was helpful. I needed to get this off my chest. This was more of a rant than a supportive video, but I think it's important that I put it out there, why I'm doing this and who I have targeted. The manipulators, their day is coming because the leaders are coming for them. That's what I have for you. I'll see you in the next one.